On your time zone, I hope you find Saga TV. So guys, yesterday we were just progressing very well with this reaction video before the network failed to work for me. So I really apologize to you, my audience. And now we pick up from where we left. Of course, we'll repeat some of the stuff here. So of course, all of us understand that Gloria OROBWA dropped a bombshell on senators, harassment and political double standards. So this was an expose, actually, a political expose. If you didn't know it, now you know. Hey, watu wangu, Live Saga TV. Tulijua kuna mchezo mchafu ndani ya siasa, lakini hii ya OROBWA, hii ni sinema kali kuliko Zora ya Maria. Combined. So I opened on Iko Nini Show. That is a podcast, na Gloria hakucheza, aliamua kumwaga mtama mbele ya kuku wengi. So she said, if I'm going down, I'm taking all of you with me. I think that was her decision, because I did not expect her to come out and pour the sodium on the streets as she did yesterday, right? So actually, Gloria gave an expose. She went raw. And I was like, are you actually sure that the leaders we have in parliament are that dirty? We knew some things about Nyamu, about Farouk, maybe Sudi. We have some information about, is it Kuria? Partly. But we did not know that is how rotten the parliament is. A parliament of alls indeed. Money bags is not missing there. We may not miss straight-eyed, we may not miss Iron Lady. And of course, she's representing the Iron Lady. On the other hand, we have Royal All. Of course, you know the Royal All. And we have... All right, so in her defense, Gloria came out, talking positive a little bit about Wetangula, and some other people. And she was accusing aspects of iniquity and seeking favors through harassment, the aspect of sexual harassment, hypocrisy, and political double standards. I didn't expect Sifuna to come out, but that name came out, guys. Sam, hey, I'm your new subscriber. Thank you so much. I love you, and lots of love. I really appreciate, actually. Thank you so much for commending that I'm looking pretty. Anik, do you saw me? You are here. What are you saying? Anik? Of course, my hair is here. That is my style for today, the dreads in the house, Guys, now, Rokiate is like Namasiapa. Hey, Namasiapa, is it? Which language? Rokiate, welcome on board. Anik, welcome on board. Where are you from? I'm from Kenya. I'm from Kenya. Are you from Kenya too? Okay. So guys, let's stay focused, because here I have very few minutes before I go to what I have to do from 11. So we have very few minutes and I have to explore what I have to explore here. Thank you so much for coming on board. Anik is from India. I am from Kenya. So welcome in Kenya. If you come about, don't fail to greet us. And of course, I'm planning in my life, I have to reach India, touch the soils of India, see something about Mother Teresa's explorations, Mahatma Gandhi, and so many other things. So thank you so much for coming on board. Stephen Evans, thank you so much and welcome. Give me my like on the thumbs up on the platform. We have Anik from India. Thank you so much, Wamaste. All right, and Anik, you didn't say where you. Oh, Anik said India. Stephen Evans, are you from Kenya? Rokiate, you didn't tell us where you are from. You just said Namasiapa. I don't know whether it's a place or you are talking about you are greeting. I don't know. Sam, You didn't say where you are from, but thank you for subscribing to the channel. You can actually now give a like to the video as we proceed with the live stream. Right, so Gloria yesterday dropped a bombshell and all of us were like, expose in reality, you know. She was like the Iron Lady in A Parliament of Owls. Guys, if you know that book, you know, a book by Odipo Sidang. Guys, politics is so sweet now, you know. Now listen, Gloria didn't come to smile and sip tea in Ikonini. She came to pour kerosene and light a fire, right? According to her, some senators, yes, our honorables have turned parliament into a playground of cruelty. Yeah, from slut-shaming to political bullying. Gloria says women are being silenced not by laws but by egos, you know. The clerk in the house, in the senator, is the greatest person. Okay, Stephen Ivan says from Kenya, what do you think about this Gloria bombshell? Is she retaliating, or is she actually, you know, giving a secret that we have not been aware of? You know, when I watched that video, I was like, if the case is going on, why did she decide to even drop the bombshell? Anik is like, what are you reading? I'm not reading. I'm just doing a political analysis. If you know somebody known as Gloria OROBWA, is a Kenyan senator from Kisii. So yesterday she was on podcast at in Nairobi, of course, and she dropped a bombshell on so many things in the Senate, you know. So that's what I'm talking about here, and I just want to see your reactions, your thought. If a lady comes out after suspension from the Senate and begins to say what she said, because yesterday she actually came out pouring information on embarrassment, you know, sexual harassment, hypocrisy, and the aspects that people gain favors in the Senate, not on basis of what they are meant to do or serve, but maybe because they are offering sexual satisfaction to some of their members, because they are hypocritical, they are pretentious, they are not ready to say the truth, they are not ready to ask what has to be asked, and because of the double standards in politics, right? So that was the expose that was dropped yesterday by Gloria. If you watched, you did see. Yeah, so watu wangu wa Life Saga TV, this was quite surprising for me. That's why I've decided to do this, you know, this kind of reaction, a political reaction. If you've been watching around for my reactions, I actually come up to something that is very questionable, something that has, you know, surprised the world. And I think actually this is something surprising. So guys, if you watch Gloria, what did she say? Yeah, she was approached by the clerk in the Senate, and the clerk is the most important, or rather powerful person than anyone in the Senate. And when she declined, she began to see things falling down. Do you believe her? Actually, do you believe her? So she gave us a lot of bombshells of what happens behind the scenes, you know, something like they have to organize to, you know, to tame your ego if you're actually proving to be tough. And she was defining herself as a very tough lady. And when she stood against the sexual, you know, favors, then she did not have to gain the other favors, you know. Things like the rightful trips she had to go to Geneva. She mentioned something about Geneva. There was another one to, I think, Germany. And she says her passport was held by the clerk until the day she was supposed to travel. That is when it was returned, and they had not applied for her visa to go to Geneva. How true that is, maybe we will be seeing that in the cases that are forthcoming, because they are cases to be answered. Now, she also expressed how they decided to suspend her in her absence so that she cannot stand to defend it and speak to Kenyans. And she said that when they saw her in Parliament, the day they were conducting the suspension, they decided to stop it until later when she had traveled to another country, you know, and that is when they had to suspend her because she wouldn't be there to defend herself. She said that a senator is normally given some 20 minutes to react when there are questions that are, you know, accusations are being read in the Senate. And I was like, oh my goodness. I thought these things happen only in small institutions like schools, hospitals, small companies where people want to prove power and to show you that you don't matter. So they want to give people favors because they are people who are quiet, so, celebrating them, calling them yes, 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 I didn't know it goes to the Senate. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my goodness. So this thing is happening all over, you know. If what she's saying is true, then the honorable, in quotes, title is just a costume, It's a mere costume, masking the cesspool of misogyny and dirty tricks, Hii sio vita ya ideas tena, Ni vita ya kuvunja wanawake kimfumo, And unfortunately, it happens that women are also playing role in the same. She mentioned Karen Nyamu and of course other women. She did not come up with the rest. And she was saying that she cannot be compared to Karen Nyamu. Anybody who knows Karen Nyamu, you know how controversial she is. She traveled to, in fact, I saw her having traveled to America. I didn't know that was a trip that she has just sneaked in. And it is indicated that she goes for trips that she does not even have to go for as an audience. But somebody specifically invited to go speak is denied a chance. If they have to go, they have to sponsor themselves. Whereas those who have not been called are sponsored as, an audience to go just listen. Are you seeing that ironic? No wonder our country is not moving ahead, We are not moving forward. And if these things do not stop, we may not move forward anytime soon. So thank you for those who are still on board. So on Iko Nini show, the mask came off. Now let's talk Iko Nini and get to that and see the fireworks, the episode, the fact that she came out smiling to the public but giving the plot that always happens in private, that certain male senators love social media activism. But in real life, the engineer smear campaigns and text threads when women disagree with them. Some of them stand up in the space of tribalism, and actually talk as a tribe. So the favor against whoever was supposed to be pushed down, according to what she said, OROBWA was indicating that the guy is a Luya. And so Senator Sifuna, Halwale and the rest of them had to stand to protect him so that mwana wa Ingo does not go Ingo. Hey, at one senator told her, you are too emotional for politics, bro. But you are the one blocking her budget proposals, like an ex with petty vengeance, who is emotional again. I don't know. I don't understand why sometimes people demand for professionalism when they themselves are not professional. How can you go demanding professionalism when you are not professional? The moment you are favoring, the moment you are discriminating, the moment you are treating others unequal to the rest, then you don't even have the audacity to stand before people and say that you are professional. You are not. You are not. And even if you do anything and maybe mess these people and they lose a job, know that God sees and watches everything, Yeah. So, hii tweet ya kusema tuna treat women like trash, block her, suspend her, and say she's unstable. That is the message that came, according to her. Now, let's check on her on the day of suspension, Let's check on her so that we are not just talking and talking. Here it is. Here, this is what happened, actually.
GLORIA has been degazetted as...
She was degazetted, right?
Political support for former Interior CS Fred Matiang'i.
After nearly 3 years in office as a nominated senator, United Democratic Alliance Party has resolved to part ways with GLORIA following a series of troubles culminating in her expulsion.
It appears I have been accused for being a kissing. It appears the allegations that are being made is that, hey, stop yourself, stop being a kissing.
This was after she publicly announced her support for former Interior CS Fred Matiang'i, criticized the labor mobility program by the Ministry of Labor, and made remarks at an interview on Spice FM that did not sit well with the ruling party, UDA, that nominated her. She was summoned by UDA Disciplinary Committee Chair Charles And even though she obtained court orders barring the proceedings, the party leadership expelled her. And early today, Senate Speaker Amason Kingi moved fast and degazetted her nomination. The Speaker announced the nomination seat as vacant, but the embattled OROBWA was back in the corridors of justice, seeking to block her expulsion and oust her as a nominated senator. High Court Judge Lawrence Mugambi issued orders suspending her expulsion and removal as nominated senator.
So guys, she decided to venge a war. She's not going down quietly. And of late, I don't know why she came up on social media, actually a podcast, Iko Nini, and began to say what she had to say. Let's check on that, because I thought that when somebody has a case to answer or has actually done the appeal, she's supposed maybe to sit away. But she decided to come out and pour. Did she feel like she wouldn't have a chance to speak what she had to say? Or what exactly motivated her to come out and say what she had to say? Maybe let's look at this. So are you, if you're a Kenyan or somebody who has read through OROBWA, of course checking on supplies and all that, do you actually understand what motivated the people to push her?
Watu wanasema kazi yetu ni kulala na watu, my friend. Si hata ulala na watu pia uno.
Hiyo najua. Uliraisaje aje na ukaweza ku get your position.
There is Gloria.
People fight for these seats.
Oh yeah.
Because talking of politics, wacha tuanze na hiyo relation. So ukisema Matiang'i ni ako yako na maanisha nini?
Kuna mali wanakanga base wakingojea the sun to come down. Maraga doesn't want to talk to them.
No, he does not want to talk to them.
No, he doesn't, because if by the time you have announced your candidature, we are almost clocking a year, na hujawafikia, you don't want to talk to them.
Okay.
When you see all
that's
other
fair criticism.
Yeah.
That's
so
fair.
You want only lawyers.
Go ground.
Yeah. With him, I would go and talk to him and say,
My work is easy because I use ClickUp.
These advertisements really irritate me.
I start by brain dumping everything I need to get done in a list view. Next, I set up
with the women who had not been, every single thing, even how his office was designed, how the cabinet was cultured to relate to him or not to relate to him, he was set up to fail. Okay. And I feel like both of us, and I'm drawing similarities, I was set up to fail, but somehow I managed to achieve a lot with all the barriers, which pissed the system even further. So they needed to remove, yani ile wewe hata toka hapa. Juu hata tunakuvutia hizi vitu na wewe hizi vitu hazikustopishi, bado unaendelea kuongea, bado uko na mdomo, bado you know, like mbona tu haujatulia. So it's like wewe hata tukutoe. The same with Gachagua. He was set up to fail in every single way. The work environment and everything was such that when he was succeeding, the guys were still wondering, anyone askiza hata say, you know. So they had to remove him. That's how I feel. And I say this with all sincerity, because me, I dealt with Gachagua when he was in government and I was in government. We went to Kisii together. In fact, that trip for Kisii, unaimagine mtu anaenda trip ya Kisii. Sasa hii ninaongea sana, but wacha niseme. So, president amekuja Kisii. Mimi obviously I'm from Kisii. Nimeenda Kisii.
Yes.
Wale vijana akina Osoro na nani wana run show. Nani ameaccompany president kwenda Kisii? Rigathi Gachagua, deputy wake. Do you know that hata mahali president anafika, umse hadi wanamsukuma huko na au vijana wako nyuma security, umse anakan yeni protocol. Yani hata penye anatembea, hata their property and helped you get to State House are outside. What do you think they're doing outside? Because hawakai tu hivi wakikuangalia State House, they are regrouping. And that was even before the Wamalwa, Matakarua and whatever came together. And I'm not talking about the figureheads. There are people who...
So in this, of course, you heard that there are people who finance campaigns for whichever position, for whichever party. And when they finance people, they send them to represent them in a specific way, you know, push things for them. So if they say this has to be, it has to be. So OROBWA is trying to say that she went there and she started to fight a battle. Yet those who financed maybe the campaigns had other intentions. And of course, within the parliament, we have now those who are supposed to defend otherwise. Now, let's look at another receipt here. What else does
particularly
she
in the
say?
security committee, there are things by law you cannot reveal.
See, but unajua
Like
ukisema hivyo,
in the committee, apparently, na hiyo ni nyinyi mnasemanga watu wa security, kuna vitu zenye kama hiyo, for instance, who voted, who didn't vote, nini, you can't reveal.
sasa nini ikamtia still one of the things he's known for ni ignoring court orders, and you have to understand that one of the most dangerous things about e country, we have an executive that's above the law. Yes. And you wewe mwenyewe umefika wrath of such an executive.
And actually it is the court that has come to
Yes.
rescue.
So now you can see why sisi tuko zile za huyu buda alikuwa na ignore court order akiwa CS. Try to imagine the same buda kwa president.
Nashangaa nikienda kupeana pads, unawambia hata hiyo dynamics zake huko kwa ground have nothing to, serikali venye anajua serikali ni chief na inaishia hapo kwa chief. If Maraga does not want to go down to that person, you cannot come and convince me that 51 plus million Kenyans, all of them understand your corporate manifesto. Mpandishe kwa gari aongeleshe raia.
Now, currently, OROBWA reveals that Maraga does not want to meet people at the grassroots, you know.
To bring my policies and everything in Nairobi. So, that's where we are.
Okay. But what to maybe to rewind kidogo, to go back to the origin. So, ulikuwa wapi?
Nai.
Wapi specifically? Mtagani?
Sasa unataka kwanza kunisize.
Sikusaizi. Nini swali supongana kila mtu. Aya. Hii ni podcast supongana kila mtu because I want to understand the girl and how this girl ends up rising.
I grew up in
the
Nairobi.
level of akina Denmark na Sweden is nika choo unaenda ukirudi. So I want to understand.
I grew up in Nairobi. We are 4 girls raised by my father, single father. He passed away during elections 2022 January.
Oh, majuzi tu. So kuona
yeah, it's the saddest moment.
Isa.
Yeah. So I grew up in Nairobi.
So, mother, what happened?
My mom is there. They just separated and we never grew up with her.
Oh, okay. Wali separate joni ni juu mko madem ni wote.
I can't. I was too young. I was like in class 1.
Okay.
So I don't even have memories of it. Yeah. So we grew up hapa. Unaona hapa pali ya center inakuanga? Hiyo street yote there was nothing. It was only a center.
Okay, that's
punk gani na hizo manyumba zote zilikuwa za serikali zote. Unajua hiyo street yote hizo nyumba zote zilikuwa za serikali.
So of course when I watched the video, I don't want to actually play everything because I'm here to do the reaction, and my reaction was towards the fact that Sifuna, this man we normally see, it's very harsh in parliament. He comes up, he bangers everybody. Gloria indicates, or rather vindicates him alongside Halwale, that they are a bit tribal and they are hypocritical. They say one thing, they act the other. And that is one thing that I really feel I should understand, because actually having pretentious people around you, would rather have people who tell you bluntly, this is this. But these people who hide around the shell and then pretend to be somebody else, then they come later, you realize there's something different, it's on another level. So, I think you know this guy. That is Sifuna. So of course we saw him recently rising against the order by the president to shoot people in the legs, you know. He also had this one. I think he also came up with something in parliament yesterday, if I'm not wrong. He came out shouting against some other fellas, and we saw him also saying he cannot wait for 2027 on the president when they are being shot because they'll not arrive there. I don't know whether it's this video here. Yeah.
I will politely decline that invitation, Honorable Speaker. I have become very averse to conversations that are had in private. I was elected to a public space so that everybody can see what it is we are having that conversation.
Yeah, so when I look at Sifuna in those situations, actually, I see a very straight man. I don't know. Now, Orobwa's statement yesterday now changed the narrative around Sifuna and around Khalwade. We've seen Khalwade screwing Kingi and any other person. Like here, this is what he had to say.
Is action. Action, Mr. Speaker, and I would like to appeal to my brother, Senator Omugeni, the senator of Nyamira. Politics being what it is, Mr. Speaker, it's quite clear that the two bulls of Nyamira, the governor is controlling one house, and maybe the other bull, Senator Omugeni, is controlling the other, so that we don't speak on matters that cannot.
So that is Khalwade for you. I also saw him at some point. Let's hear this.
It was the last dignitary she cooked before she died. And I was shocked. He warned me and say, wewe uwezi uliza serikali maneno. Wewe ni chief whip, unastahili kunyamaza, kujibu maswali na ujue tumekupatia gari. Really? Yani madharau inaweza pita hapo. Senator wa Kakamega representing 5 million people. Yako bila kura.
Yeah, guys, so that was it. Now, when you look at these two people, they look actually like they are very sane and they are representative. Now, when we looked at OROBWA's threats to expose sexual exploitation in the Senate, and let's see from the news point of view, this was what was said. Let's listen to this here. We began to ask ourselves,
The Speaker of the National Assembly. The letter is out there. He chose not to act on it. At the bare minimum, in any workplace, at least an investigation must be conducted. I have been saying that if you think I'm lying, let the travel report of the Senate be released. Because then you will see that at the point when United Nations invited me to Brussels to the 53rd Assembly, the clerk gave an advisory that there is no money, yet there are people who are sent to the same forum. You will see this kind of shenanigans in terms of sex in exchange for trips, sexual favors in exchange for legislative agenda, sexual favors in exchange for all sorts of things, including office premises and locations. That is what I've been saying. Not one single entity has investigated this. I asked to be given the travel report, which is in the custody of the clerk of the Senate. He is the custodian of the evidence that will show you that there's a lot of favoritism towards certain senators. We are 16 nominated women senators in the Senate. We are 3 elected women senators. As the fourth estate, I challenge you to go and try and get data of how many of these people travel.
now guys, unfortunately, as OROBWA gives these details, or rather demands, nobody is ready to listen. This is Kenya. This is Kenya. And I didn't know how dirty it is. I thought it's just, the dirty aspects to do with corruption, And I was surprised. Gloria came up sharing yesterday that on one trip, when these members are sent as an audience to Geneva or wherever, they come out with almost 1.6 million Kenyan shillings, guys. A whooping 1.6 million Kenyan shillings. When we have students who can't pay even 5,000 in a day school. When we have people who cannot go to hospital and pay even 2,000 for treatment. When we have so many things that are ailing the country. And this is tax money from citizens. They are squeezing and ensuring that they try to investigate into your phones and everywhere else to check what you are earning, even from hustles that they don't know how you hustle, so that they tax. But then, this money is being used carelessly, because how do you send 5 people to Geneva to go represent, and they are just going to listen, when somebody who should go talk and give some specific aspects there cannot be given a chance? Unfortunately, those who speak too much never get it. In fact, I saw comments on Ikonini and people are like, anaongea sana, That is the problem of talking too much. Somebody was like that. So hypocrisy in parliament, guys. The men's club. OROBWA revealed something painful. that the female senators get reduced to how they dress, how they speak, or even how their menstrual health. Remember when she showed up the red stain in parliament? Do you remember that time? So it is highlighting the period of poverty, intellectual poverty within the parliament. Instead of conversation, she got a suspension. All of us know, right? The real shame wasn't the stain. The real shame was the lawmakers had to offend, the world generally. If you look at the aspect of gender equality, you can see that. Yeah? So the citizens are left not to have somebody to represent them, the real person, because from her argument yesterday, she was sharing the fact that when she wants to go represent the Kenyan women on matters that are worth, aspect to do with menstrual, aspects and all that, nobody is ready to listen, So this shows how the fear, how we fear discomfort more than we fear injustice. Actually, that's what I believe. Many people fear, discomfort. You want to be an institution and have them do all the wrongs, but you don't want to be uncomfortable sharing the truth or making demands. But we don't fear injustice. That's unfortunate. So when we watch at what Gloria OROBWA shared yesterday, we realized that truth, that many people fear discomfort. They would rather be not be uncomfortable with bosses or people around them or the senators or the governors, but they would rather feel that injustice. So it's no big palaver. So her protest was peaceful, right? Meaningful and symbolic. And I don't think she would come out just speaking out in a backlash, dropping bombshells, without actually having felt that brutality, the coldness, But the response continues to be brutal and cold. Institutional bullying, because actually when she reveals that no one has ever investigated into the matters she's laying on the ground, aspects to do with the sexual harassment she's gone through, the reality is that if the clerk within the Senate is the one holding everything, including the valid document that will be used as proof in court, do you think anything will happen actually? It wouldn't. I don't expect anything good to come out of that. But that is the dirt that we are actually seeing that runs from the top to the bottom. No wonder it runs from the parliament back to, our communities, constituencies, then runs back to maybe our institutions around us, and then maybe to homes, So what exactly should be the solution? Live Saga TV shares this. What do we do, watu wangu? We amplify these stories on our channels, not just for matters of entertainment, but we would actually wish to have solutions. So we ask, who benefits from silencing strong women like Gloria OROBWA and any other? Does it mean that they have just to go there as, caricatures to represent themselves and their stomachs and maybe their pockets? Is that what should happen? Who write the rules of respectability in parliament that dances the tribal tunes and ego battles, Like, I didn't expect Sifuna of all the people and Khalwale actually to be in the list of shame when OROBWA was speaking. At least for Karen Nyamu, I expected her to be so, because she's a trash, She's all about intellect, her character is questionable. Whatever she displays, twerking like an adolescent girl, that is expected. But then the rest of the things coming from other people, the clerk of all the people, how could they pick somebody like that to go and represent iniquity, be biased and use the office as a sexual trap for women in the Senate? When we hear about senators, we expect that they are at least up there and they were nominated, or rather elected, to go represent the people, and therefore they deserve respect. I didn't know that it could go to such low levels of shame. So Kenyan politics must grow, actually. It's not about who shouts louder or silences better. Is it? Maybe that's what people think. But there is need to probe into a lot of things in Kenya, including city chaos, including this shaming aspect, including the tribal, utterances that run around. And even, I don't know, today I saw that Aden Duale is questioning the aspect of Gachagua going to Seattle and in a cultural setting, and he was indicating that it was a tribal thing. Unfortunately, I saw Diana, the Luo lady, there in that meeting, because it was a cultural aspect for Kikuyu people, I believe, in the diaspora. So Aden Duale comes up with that statement, yet from Wajir, we had this lady Fatuma saying that they are ready to fill the basket of votes. With votes, they'll just fill the bucket. Why can't he stand against that? And he only comes to pretend in hypocrisy and stand against what Gachagua is doing, you know? So are you seeing how people fear discomfort, but they are ready not to fear injustice? I think you get the mathematics now. So Kenyan politics has not grown. Yeah. Regardless of ourselves calling ourselves independent, you know, it's not a matter of the right thing, you know. People shout, and so we want to see who is shouting loud. We also want to see who is silencing better. Yeah. So it's about who serves, right? Yeah. And if the institution of parliament is being used to crush, exclude, and shame, then it is not democracy. We cheat ourselves that we have a democratic country, but I don't see the difference between us and Uganda, us and Tanzania, us and Cote d'Ivoire, us and Ivory Coast. We don't have a very big difference. It is dictatorship in a design, you know, and that's why it runs from up there to the small institutions and maybe to the homes. Guys, it's a call for action, right? So the shout out to Gloria OROBWA for risking everything to say what she had to say, not in a whisper. She did that on Ikonini because she knows that platform has a lot of people listening. You may not agree with everything she says. I may not also agree with everything she says. But at least she's saying it loud, you know. We need less political theater, more public accountability. Kama unaona kuna ukatili wa mfumo, you know, usinyamaze. Why should you keep quiet? At Live Saga TV, where truth hits harder than cloud. We say till next time, tuachane na siasa za mabega juu, roho chafu, you know. So let's go back to OROBWA statements, some few statements, pick some tickets from there before we just come to the end of this, because I have something to handle in few minutes, and so I'll be doing it. So let's come to what she said here. All right.
Why did you cancel your Midjourney subscription? I found this hidden AI that does everything I want for a one-time cost.
My son, a teenager who's on social media, except he's not. I don't want to see that. You know, to an extent that it's like new examples.
Yes.
So you don't want to see your child in a casket, right?
Because my kid is under 18.
You're first in the assumption. Everyone, wewe nimekuambia si uko na mimi mama yangu hataki kuniona kwa casket kama sijakufa. My uncle, how many times have they killed my Uncle Fred? Uncle Fred every year he's dead. Then fast forward, it wasn't even a year. The same bloggers were like, so and so is sharing my number. I'm like, you people, when this thing started, I told you this thing is wrong. Do you know what they did during Gen Z protest? They took my son's number and shared it. And then they started sending him pictures of himself without his head. Even in my
dealt with as criminality.
Even in my statements at the floor of the House, those are some of the things that I said. I personally, I am not of the opinion that if I hit you, I take your phone number and share it. I'm not of that opinion. Because I feel like SMB, business office for their platform. That office is where? In Africa, it is in South Africa. So that's where all the people have gone to. Instagram is in South Africa. Facebook is in South Africa. TikTok is in South Africa. We don't have a Facebook office in Kenya. What we have is 4 employees. I know them.
Yes,
it's like 60 something.
Facebook, not YouTube. But you look at the difference between.
Okay, so guys, OROBWA has shared their personal aspects. Maybe we didn't know about them. Let's get somewhere. There's some video I wanted to share. I watched it yesterday, actually. Still on Ikonini, just to share some few aspects of it before I go away. Because yesterday, actually, I didn't get a nice time on internet. The internet flopped.
Around you.
Yeah.
Seniors.
Kuna baba siku hizi.
Another senior Bob.
Sana chana na baba. You know the way, kama wewe saizi ukienda Rurashio. Si kuna wazee utaita?
For negotiations.
Oh yeah, unasema amejisurround with too much young energy.
Wako wapi hao wazee?
Why is it?
Hata si kujisurround. Mtoe tu hivi kutoka politics umweke kando. Wapi wazee wake? Jumi ukiniita mimi unitoe tu from politics or anything uniweke kando, alafu uangalie who are the people in her life who she listens to. You know, you can actually pick a squad of older people. Yeah.
So wako ni nani?
Wangu wako wengi sana. Even in this political space,
Like
I am
who?
the person who will talk to Anwaiguru, Alice Wahome, you know, people who've been there, Yambo, mimi wale watu napiga simu niko nyinyi mnajua.
So Gloria is sharing the people she talks to. Milio Jambo, Uhuru, and she shared somebody else, you know.
KICC reminds me of my dad. He worked there forever. So I was like, staki kwenda KICC. Na nikiweza naweza kaa kwa ofisi yangu kanta kubalishwa. So hapo ndio beef yetu ilianza. Kwa sasa yeye ndo ana decide kama atakupe ofisi ama atakupe. Much later ndio nikaambiwa, unajua watu wanapewa ofisi nje huwa wanalipwa, wanareimbursiwa 150k a month. So kumbe that was the catch. Me I'm here just asking for basics. Lakini kumbe the catch is kuna watu wamepiga madini na wako kwa hiyo slot wamesema niende. It's actually representing the Senate and my legislation. Wakanishozi wa ni clerk. Akasema kuna pesa huwezi kusupportiwa.
Yeah.
The same thing with the status on the Conference of Women. Pia akasema, oh, we cannot support you. We don't have money to send a delegation. And then they sent a delegation of like 5 people. Karen Nyamu was part of it. I was like, you guys. Me, I was going to speak.
Yeah.
As a nimeinvitiwa niende kuongea juu ya bili yangu ya menstruation and how we can make a period friendly world, equity within this whole sexual reproductive health and rights. Our watu beginning with the clerk wamesema maybe hatuna doa ya kukusupport, so hatuwezi kukutuma ende ujipange. That same event, yes, wametuma maseneta waende kwa audience. Unajua vitu kama hizo sana ukaa ni venye saa uwezi rant. Unakaa unaangalia uko like sasa hawa, alafu obviously they go like the first day to the event. Hiyo kusign ndo upigwe mapicha uonekane umeenda, after that mtu anatembea US 10 days. Vitu zake. So you know those kind of things it was like brewing. I was getting upset, eh?
So are you seeing where the rain started beating her?
Tumekuona. Akasimama akatumia standing order stopping the motion.
The motion stopped. She also shared the tribal aspects.
After the day they spoke, or that week, all of them traveled.
Okay.
And the fact that the senators who stood against her and ensured that she was suspended actually had a free trip after that. So that is one of the dirty aspects that we realized from this her revelation, you know.
History of travel. Unajua travel ni lucrative. Watu they actually, yes, you'll go. There's an agenda. You're traveling to represent your country for something.
Hapo parliament tuonyeshe pesa inaendaga KQ. Because how is it more expensive to travel as part of the government?
Now the dirty aspect is that some of these, you know, the senators when traveling, even though we know the price, you know, of people traveling from Kenya in a plane to America or wherever, but they tend to ask for more money than expected, more than enough. And this is one of the ways of course, having a corrupt deal, you know, quietly having corrupt deals. The other one is the aspect of, is it travel or what is that? Mileage. So Gloria came out revealing that mileage aspect, the people from Nairobi are not supposed to acquire it. But in this video, she reveals that some of the leaders are acquiring mileage because now they are paid basis on where their ID reads, not where they are representing. So you see such gaps.
kitu mnafaa muulize, hata saa zingine nasemanga tuko maandamano, which is good, but kitu mnafaa muulize which other doesn't require maandamano. You know, they kept on saying I'm lying. Oh, she's lying, anadanganya nini nini. And I said, you see, I've been saying that there's favoritism based on sexual favors, and or there's favoritism based on people playing ball, whatever playing ball in your corner. It could be nakukatia, it could be nataka uende uangushe ile bili ya ule msee, it could be whatever that thing is. Mimi, my point is there's favoritism, lakini according to me kuna mtu alinikatia, nikamwambia sitaki stories zako, alafu sasa hivi tu zinanifanyikia, right? Then they said unadanganya. Nikasema kama nadanganya, how about mfungwe travel report? Mtuonyeshe tangu sisi tuapishe hivi hii Senate. And most, actually all politicians, kutoka Thursday, ni very hard upate politician. No. Lakini by that time, wacha nikuulize, hapana, nani ali-imagine financing and opposition? That is met.
Yeah, she even talks about the finance bill and the fact that the opposition supported it. Of course, after eating some money, or rather receiving gigs from the whatever side it is. And so, actually, when I watched this video, I don't have more time to explore in my reaction deeply because of what other responsibilities I have to fulfill. But the reality is there is a lot of monkey business, dirty business going on in the parliament, right? A lot of dirty secrets, things about power misuse, you know, harassment, Senate secrets, double power politics, you know, abuse of office, you know, selfish interests and things to do with that. So actually, we can see what we are seeing, and no wonder it's so hard to have the justice that we ask for. That is why you normally see some of the leaders parading and telling us that even if you ask for more than, maybe less than a term, that is impossible. And that is actually what it is. Maybe as you hit the the comment section, share your views. Maybe what is your thought? Do you think this lady is just exaggerating? Do you think she's doing a backlash as a revenge mission? Do you think she's actually telling us what we need to hear and see how to strategically change the history, you know, so that we can have better? So bye-bye for now. Let me go deal with other issues. I'll be here later to deal with the politics from Jamaica and other aspects. Bye-bye.